Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome to WSTX AM 970. Yeah, all right. Doug and Jerry in the house this morning. All right, good thing.
What kind of dry thing that is?
Oh, man, you want to wet it up some more? Go right on ahead.
What kind of dry thing that be this morning, doggy? Eh?
Go ahead, man.
Good morning, good morning, good morning.
All right.
Welcome to WSTX Reflections. We are on your community-minded station. Good morning, St. Croix. Good morning, St. Thomas, St. John. Good morning around the world.
All right. Well, definitely for sure it wet now.
You're listening to Doug and Jerry.
It definitely wet now.
What do you mean by that?
Well, you said it was dry before. I said definitely wet now. So, all right, good thing. Well, this is what we got to do. Lively it up in more than one way. Thanks for the help. Preoccupied as we can get sometimes with what we got going on. Okay. Okay, that's you?
No, that's not me.
Oh, okay. All right.
No, I know better than that.
No, I just hear this thing went off. But anyhow,
Nah.
we here, and let me turn down this gain just a little bit here. You leave things a certain way, and you come back and find them another way, and you just have to adjust and adjust and adjust. Yeah.
Well, you know when you got more than one disc jockey coming around, so
Hey,
you know.
tell me about it,
Hey.
man. Tell me about it. I gotta put some do not disturb on some of these buttons and let somebody know. Don't trouble this.
but you know, it all boils down to the old saying, too many cooks spoil the soup.
Hey, tell me about it.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, tell me about it.
And we grew up hearing that, right?
Yeah, we know about that one. So what's been going on in your week, Jared?
All this, usual week. Yesterday we was at the book club with Nina Garcia.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry we didn't get a flyer out.
Or not even an announcement to Doug. I mean, I had to just slap up Doug. However,
No.
Coalition.
No. Let me explain. It is not Nina's fault. It is the fault of the director.
Okay.
Okay. She did the flyer. She presented it to the director. And the director waited until Tuesday. It was Tuesday or Monday to post it on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't even put it out or send it out to the media or anything like that. So,
well, truth is truth and fact is fact, and if that's how it went down, that's how it went down. So I hope nobody don't get attitude because somebody take the time out to let the people know that we had this thing and they couldn't participate because somebody dropped the ball.
Well, they've been dropping the ball, doggy.
Well,
and I want to say this here because this is only my opinion. This is not the opinion of my co-host, Doug Camden. It is my opinion, Gerard Evelyn.
You're starting off protecting the innocent this morning.
Yeah, I gonna protect my boy, man. I know you got my back.
You're starting off protecting the innocent this
No.
morning. I ain't complaining.
No, because the Talking Book Library. It was better known as the Regional Library or the Library for the Blind and the Physically Impaired. It was in Golden Rock, across from Subway, across from the District Courthouse in Golden Rock. They moved it down to the Florence Williams Library. They shut down the old location and they moved it down to the Florence Williams Library. Now, my problem with that is they moved it to an area where it is not accessible for persons with disabilities.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? There are no automatic doors. You need to enter. The entrance for the disabled is through the back. And even if you can walk down the steps, if you have an impairment like me, There are no railings on the steps. And this is what they said was newly refurbished to accommodate persons like myself. There are no bathrooms on the first floor. So, if you have an impairment, you're in a wheelchair or something like that, you have to go to the second floor to relieve yourself if nature calls. You know, and you gotta go through an elevator, which is a small elevator. So if your wheelchair is kind of large, then you're gonna have a problem.
Okay.
You know, I mean, this is ridiculous, and we have been complaining. We have filed a case with disability rights and spoke to several senators, and it's like, as usual, the disabled community is always forgotten or ignored.
Okay.
So that's how my week has went.
All right. So when we gonna sit down and write this letter to the folks at the on the federal level for ADA, because this is it's in their face. You know what I'm saying? I can't beg for them. I can't beg for them. Sorry, not this morning. Okay, not that I accustomed to beg for them.
And if you ask me, I think they're trying to make this library fail, because there's no interest in support.
Well, let me ask you
in
something.
This library.
Let me ask you something, right? You're trying to make it fail?
Yeah,
Ain't fail already?
it ain't fail yet. It's
Ain't
still
fail yet?
it's
Okay.
still going.
All right. Okay. When I say fail, because the problems that are there, and let me just call a spade a spade. DPNR is just interested in the bottom line. If they could spend less money, they're going to spend less money. Even if it means that they're going to deliver less service, they'll deliver less service. That's how it is.
Yeah, but you see the thing with the library is the patrons can have their books mailed to them, and they can mail back the books when they're done. So they're still getting the to their patrons. You understand? But to physically go there is sort of a challenge. Okay? But
So
because this is the regional librry.
So
They deal with
everybody who have a disability and want to sign up for the program have to make an appointment to go in one time and get signed up, and then they'll tell you don't come back.
No. No.
Mail it in only. Don't come back.
No. You can come. You can go there. You can speak to the librarian, Nina Garcia.
Jerry,
Hold on.
just the angel talking here.
I
okay?
know.
Just the angel talking here.
This is the regional library. They serve the entire territory. St. Croix, St. Thomas, and St. John. So when they deal with St. Thomas and St. John, they have to mail out the books as well, because there's no physical regional library on those two islands.
Yet.
So this is the hub over here.
Yet.
No, it was over there in the beginning, but they didn't have the room for it, so they ship it over here.
Jerry,
There's
they
history.
can't identify the part of St. Croix. They're going to cut off and take over there and
They-
put it there.
There's history behind this library. Okay?
I love how you keep a straight face this morning.
We are here. And I have a good friend that tell me not before 10 o'clock.
Not before 10 o'clock.
Not before 10 o'clock.
Okay.
So,
And after 10 o'clock, only on the high road.
after 10 o'clock, the road disappears.
10 p.m. Because you don't have to sleep, you mean?
No, 10 a.m.
Okay. See, I was just trying to
After 10 a.m., the
paint
road
the best scenario for you.
the road disappears. So, you ain't got no high or low road.
You just intent and confessing to the jury one time so they could lock you up.
No, they can't lock me up. Hey,
You know what I mean?
you know, some people say the truth is an offense, you know?
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, and by to tell the truth, the whole truth and nothing but.
Oh, Lordy B. I telling you. All right. Well, this has been an interesting week. Um, Lots of stuff going on. Doing some work with some young people. Of course, the circle of life calls from time to time and says, hey, you have to have a family reunion, but it's one of them other kind of family reunion, meaning somebody has passed on.
Mm-hmm.
So I had that in my week also. But plenty to be thankful for. Okay, and I put it that way because um, you could always have things that just don't go how you would like it to go. But this morning, it had cornbread muffins at the bistro, so it's going well so far. No cappuccino on top of it. I mean, they have cappuccino. I'm just not drinking any. So, Doug does he bouncing off the walls enough, and here is the complaint I keep hearing. So, I have to ease up on the cappuccino. Right.
Well, good morning to our Facebook and YouTube viewers. I got to keep up with the media aspect of things because my co-host is a bit busy over there with his can muffin.
You know how it is. You gotta get it before you get away.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't go with it. I ain't an Indian giver. But on a more lighter note, I would like to remind the public of the ICANN Connect program. The ICANN Connect program is a program in which if you have considerable hearing and vision loss, there's a program at VIU said for you. You can get a free iPhone. The number to call is 692 4267. Once again, the number is 340 692 4267. Call that number to qualify. If you have unconsiderable hearing and vision loss, you can get a free, listen good, a free iPhone or iPad of your choice.
Do you or someone you know have combined hearing and vision loss? ICANN Connect is a national program that provides free training and communication equipment, including smartphones and computers, to individuals with significant combined hearing and vision loss who meet income guidelines. Call 340-692-4267. That's 340-692-4267 to learn more about the program's guidelines, refer someone you know, or to apply for the program.
Okay. You back. Yeah. VIU said I can connect. All
Yeah.
right. I want people to know about that.
Yeah, wonderful program, man. Listen, I assisted a guy with it, and he's so happy that he can connect with his people down in the islands and things via WhatsApp and all these kind of things. He was like, "My son, I'm so happy I get this iPhone. Now I could talk to my family and blah, blah, blah." He's an older gentleman, right? But he's technically inclined. He's not technically challenged.
Technology inclined, yeah.
Yeah, he's inclined with the technology. And I was happy to help him. Happy to assist him in learning to use the phone and stuff like that. And he's happy. There's a lot of people that they have cell phones and they afraid it like cat afraid water. Don't be afraid of your cell phone. Don't be afraid of your smartphone. If you need assistance with your smartphone, just call us at BIU said 692-4266 or 692-4267. Either one of those numbers, you'll reach somebody and make an appointment to come in and see us. And you'll meet me. I will train you to use your phone.
All right. Well, since we start off dry and you wet it up and everything else, I always got something that need to get done. So the other day, I got wind of the fact that they were considering terminating my services. Who they is? You know who they is, right? So I call him up to beg back.
Oh,
Huh?
oh,
Yeah, I had to call him back to beg back. I mean, you want to see dog out there walking the street, right?
no. They might tell me who they is, though.
Talking about our friend Sarge, man.
Oh,
So I had to show him that I can connect and I reach out to him. Anyhow,
so you're connected.
I reconnected now. So
You reconnected.
I'm back in good graces.
You're
And,
back in good graces.
In fact, I am looking to collaborate with him on a project
Mm-hmm.
that involves this song. Okay, every time I hear this song, it's like see it there. I hope they're listening. I hope they're taking it to heart. But uh, what you could do your best, right? You could do your best, and the rest is up to them, right?
Right.
So, um, so hopefully my voluming won't be too high for this one. But we're talking about our culture, folks. Our culture. I see something about come home to sing,
Which we love our culture.
We love our culture, but sometimes we like to put things in a place of culture that don't belong there.
No, you gotta say it correctly. We like to dilute our culture.
It's a form of dilution. In some cases, a reinvention or invention of things. My for being a person of color, a Black Caribbean man, we look at our history and heritage and everything else. And I would tell people like it is. We may be strong, but we were not designed to be inflicted pain upon. Okay? And some people just behave like somehow the other culture says that you're supposed to be able to take pain. I ain't doing that with them. Okay?
Well, as you say history,
Mm-hmm.
I see that the judge ruled in favor of those people that the Department of Education need to follow the law. Then I read the next day that the Educational Commissioner have a problem with what the judge say. But I think they need to jail her if she don't follow the law.
Well,
Because one of the things is that's a problem in this society. A lot of the young people don't know the history of the Virgin Islands. And this is where a lot of issues come in. Because my thing is, how you gonna raise a people and you don't know where they come from, or the history of where they live in. This is a travesty that's been happening for years, and they need to stop. They need to follow the law.
well, like you say that, not to try me no jump on. Don't have nothing personal with the commissioner. Have a community interest in what's going on at Department of Ed, of course, because it's our children. So I would want to be involved from that perspective. But let me just say that I was with a group of young people the other day, and I talked about it here on the station. A lot of people, young and old, convolute Emancipation Day with Fireburn.
Yes.
Emancipation Day is in July.
Mm-hmm.
Fireburn is on a contract day is in October. You cannot mix them up because it's two different things and two different times of the year. Number one. emancipation is something that happened in 1848, Contract Day Rebellion, whatever you want to call it. Fireburn was 30 years later. And my conversation with those children basically says that when it comes to our culture, our history, our traditions, we are in fact failing them.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the programs that I'm seeing are geared toward adults. Our hope is in the youth because the adults don't set in their ways.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I woke up this morning and I saw 1848 Emancipation playing on the government channel.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, say what? Okay, because Emancipation Day gone, I happy to see it. And I gonna put in my full disclaimer, I am the videographic talent behind it. Okay, so yes, I was glad to see it, But why I'm really glad to see it is because up to now, it's the only thing that I've seen put out there that the youth could watch for 20, 30 minutes and get something out of it, meaningful, about emancipation. And I'm going to call a spade a spade. When that video was first done, we had to pull teeth to get Department of Education to put it on. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And then when they put it on, somebody played it through Zoom some kind of way, so it was a poor representation of the thing, as opposed to just putting it on like somebody had the file over here in St. Croix and was playing it into their system in St. Thomas. It just didn't work. Okay? But thank goodness we've gotten past that. Right? I mean, we have put money into Juve and Parade and all of these things. But your children can't tell you the significance of July 3rd. As simple as that. What is the significance or importance, whatever word? You're going to use no fancy word if significance is too fancy for some people.
Yeah, call on that one.
Yeah, okay. So, anyhow, we can always come back to that. Good morning, WSTX.
Good morning, my brethren. How are you guys?
I'm doing well, and yourself?
We're doing well.
Good, good. You know, Doug, you always trip me up. Doug?
Hello. You're a senior citizen? I going to help you cross the street. I ain't going to trip you up.
Okay, good. I'm glad to hear that. I was listening and I heard Evelyn talk about the stupid phone then, and I was going to talk about that, but then you all gone into uncharted waters and pulled me in there with Ayo.
Well, he's a captain, so he's going all kind of water.
I don't know. Hey, Dougie,
yes,
you
sir.
mentioned about the programs and Fireburn and this other burn and the other thing and so forth. How do we expect to untangle our children from not mixing it up when there wasn't teach about it? I mean, thought about it.
Right.
And I go have a thought too.
Well, I have a plan. I know it ain't a 10-point plan. You know what happened with 10-point plan, right?
Yeah.
But no, I have a plan in the sense that I am making sure that when I talk about these things, we have solutions. Okay?
All right.
Now, reading and writing is important. Okay? Our children...
Reading is fundamental.
It's fundamental, yeah. And
Yeah.
so now the world has changed and we have this thing called the internet, and most of these children doing the reading in a in a phone or a tablet or a computer, right?
Right, but don't leave out AI. We got that too.
Don't leave out what?
AI.
AI. No. AI is just a tool that can leverage the internet to another level.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. the So our children today are learning more from Facebook and then into Instagram and TikTok and these things. Our children today are learning more in these things than we learned in our whole childhood, because
Oh, of course.
parents who were shaking in the boots to talk to the children about birds and bees and everything else, man, they don't gone up to the moon and every place else, and how did they do it up there? Okay?
Yeah,
All
what's
right? So I'm just saying, if that is the medium that you're going to have the broadest capture of young people, then
Why not go that way?
you need to incorporate that as part of and let me give you an example, right?
Mhm.
I want, and please follow through. I'm going to give you homework.
Good.
You've got to follow through on this, because when you come back, I'm going to give you a quiz. Okay?
Good.
All right. I want you to go to YouTube and do a search on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? For 1848 space emancipation. And if you want to get it without a whole bunch of other 1848s and emancipation separate, put it in quotations when you do the
Good.
search. 1848 space emancipation. Okay? Now, imagine after you see this now, imagine that a child is given that link and said, here is your quiz. These 10 questions you have to answer. Is all there in the movie or is in the book? And let them choose between the book and the movie. Which one you think they're going to choose?
The movie.
Yep.
They're going to choose the movie.
Visual.
That's right. And do we care which medium they learn it through?
No.
Okay?
Well, I don't care.
But we have folks who are stuck in this medium thing. Okay? Now, I love the book, The Umbilical Cord by Judge Harold Willox, okay? And the things that he's done since then. But the reality is, if you can convert that into something interesting visually,
Mm-hmm.
you have a better chance of the dog not eating the homework.
Oh, you're right. Dougie, just hold a pen there for a minute. I remember something back in the day when I was going to school and talk about visual art.
Mm-hmm.
You remember that?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, and so we have to change how we view these things to go forward. For instance, we have been busy with whether or not children could have cell phone or this or that, and then you go on the campus. And when I was working in WAPA in HR, I was given the responsibility of doing training on sexual harassment. Okay, and so see me now trying to go and get the resources to put together something as part of the handout and presentation, whatever. And the system would not let me look it up because it had the word sex in it.
Oh.
Okay, now and that's how stupid sometimes on a policy level organizations will be, or backwards, not stupid. Let's say backwards. Okay, because
maybe that one you, instead of putting sex, putting rudeness.
I guess.
Rudeness, harassment.
And every child that have a phone, 99.9% of the parents don't know how to set up the phone to say that they can keep their children from going anywhere. So their children will go everywhere.
I can.
Yeah.
Okay? No, you can. But you're the exception to the exception to the rule. No, and I say that now. And I say that because in my dealing with children in my family, you know, I taught them the value in certain things versus what people want to do with their mind, and I let them make a choice. Because, you know, one of the things with porn and reality is two different things, you know.
Right.
And So I say it's like, okay, so we could only barely reach the moon now, but you could watch science fiction and see them all over the universe, right?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you have to teach them how to distinguish between what's real and what's fantasy and the value system and why they go. And I'm gonna say this, right? When I went off to college, when my mother grabbed me by the ear and said, "You're going to school," and my father escorted me off to college and left me, and he wondering how Doug gonna survive, and Doug looking at, man, this is an adventure. I loving this, right? In my dormitory, people offering me marijuana, okay? People offering me heroin, people offering me cocaine, and I like to say, wait, no, my parents worked so hard to send me. How I would be able to go back and tell them I flunked out of school because of drugs? You understand? Well, obviously, something had been put in my mind that was stronger than those influences.
Tell the truth. Tell the truth. You leave out one that was offered to you, which is probably would have been the best one. I leave that for imagination.
I ain't gonna say nothing about that one.
That's the class I used to attend.
Well,
anyway,
Mr. Nibs.
I'm gonna go and give you some time, but let me just finish and going.
Mr. Nibs.
You mentioned about how the government channel would glorify the Juve and all of that, and yes, and you're right with what you're saying that. And the people don't feel, oh, you're picking and them and that.
No.
You're just talking what it.
Right, but let's put something in context here, right? There are those of us out here who are capable of creating the content. But content requires resources to make it. And they don't want to put the resources into that. And I'm saying the government, I mean the government, period.
Well,
okay? Because when you went to the 175th emancipation commemoration, right? They had a program there that brought in all kinds of things that had nothing to do with emancipation.
But why though? Why?
Well, because they had money flowing and they paid this troop and that troop to participate and this and to bring in to make some big show.
Oh.
Okay? No, and that's what it was. Okay?
Yeah.
But in terms of the fidelity to the concept of emancipation, it was off the mark. Okay?
True.
And I'll take on any one of them involved from the chair on down in that organization and debate them on it. I ain't got no problem with that. Now,
I know that.
Now, the thing is, at least they did something, right?
Yeah.
So this year, they did something. You know what the something was? Start with an N.
Nothing.
You are a student, right?
You mean like mutton or nothing?
Yeah,
nothing.
But see, this is what happens when it become thing, and people want to be in thing, and they have poster and representation, and their face gonna be on it. All of a sudden, it's important to do something. So I heard the governor say they need to do something to make sure that we have something every year. Okay? And my thing is, well, only now you notice, all right? And I ain't putting it on him.
Right.
He got enough lieutenants who's supposed to be paying attention to these things.
Maybe too many.
No.
Listen,
He ain't got too many. It ain't about the number.
Look.
Okay.
They're not getting paid enough to pay attention.
If
numbers is dollars,
but let me.
If you got 100 PhDs, that's $250,000 clip. That ain't too much money.
What? But listen. But wait. No. That I don't want to go there because then our people were funny about people making money. Because anytime somebody making more than them, they ready to pull them down. No, I want to look at it a different angle.
Not me, but
no. But let me get to this angle because Jared is the one who bring this up this morning, right?
Okay.
You got people who in charge, but you're gonna say you're gonna refurbish a library and make that library into your library for people who need accessibility.
Right.
And don't build in no accessibility, put the bathroom up on an upper floor. So if you're in a wheelchair, the only way you're getting there is in the elevator. And if they have an earthquake, fire, or whatever, what did I tell you not to use?
The elevator.
Oh,
Okay, right.
use
Okay.
the stairs.
So I'm just saying to you, and I need to hold back the passion a little bit here because this will make me hot. Okay, you put people in charge. Okay, these things they're in the face. I left WAPA over 10 years ago, let's say, and I did the report for them that they need to put in sliding doors at the front, or door with a button that the person with disability could press to come inside.
Of course.
They would rather post a guard and make it the guard responsibility to open up the door for somebody, right? Which is, I don't have a problem with the human touch. But what if the guard dealing with something else and you trying to get inside?
Right.
All right?
But let me go, doggy. I think I hold up.
I grab onto you and won't let go. I gonna let go, man. I gonna let go.
No, but let me go. Let me go by saying this. And you're so correct. Two things I want to go back to quickly. You mentioned that you left WAPA 10 years ago. I left maybe 40 years ago. and also with regards to going and you give me an assignment, you know who I gonna give that to? My 9-year grandson, because he knows to get on these things. I don't know.
But this is what you do.
Okay.
This is what you do because they love it when you look to them for leadership.
Of course,
and we preparing them for leadership.
Yes.
That's
Anyway,
like,
I'll continue to listen.
okay, good thing.
Yeah, yes, I.
All right, take care.
No.
Just like the child who just can't keep still in class, and the teacher take that child and make them into teacher assistant and they transform the child. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean,
No,
you gotta try something different.
I want to make a statement. I'm going to make this disclaimer.
You're disclaiming now?
A disclaimer, yeah. I am not looking for any stipend or anything from this owner of this periodical, or what I would say, this book, this author of this book. I downloaded on the Amazon website the Crucian Dialogue, okay, written by Mario Moet. It is a very good history book. They could start by reading that book. Young people need to read that book because I've learned a lot reading that book. Okay, Doug?
You need to drink something, then, man. You sound like something walking on you, man. The passion catch up with you, or?
My throat.
Your throat. Okay, all right.
Throat.
Good thing. You sure now?
Yeah. So,
All right.
I've read...
I need to know, okay, if I take you to Caribbean Community Theater, I need to know to bring some tissue and things for you. You know what I'm saying? Just in case.
I have a Crucian flat in my back pocket, man. I'll be all right.
Okay, good thing.
Yeah, but no, on a serious note, Crucian Dialogue is about 800 and something pages. It's a lot of reading, but it's a good read. You know, it tells you the history of the Virgin Islands, okay? Like I say, don't shoot the messenger. Read the message. Watch the message. Read the message. And understand about your history and your culture.
Well, you know something? It have, and this is my point when it comes to those things. We need to move to the next level, okay? That 800 pages is a video documentary in episodes, okay? All right? Because if you find one child in 1,000 that going to read the book, and you find 999 in 1,000 that will watch an episode and take a quiz and be able to pass the quiz, okay? All right, then That's the way it works. You follow what I'm saying? Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the way it works for me. In terms of the broadest proliferation of this information that is so crucial to history, tradition, culture. You follow me?
Yeah.
But the thing is, it requires that the between the government and the grant opportunities out there have to focus on us transforming these history into video documentaries. Because if you could split it up, if that 990 pages is 10 episodes or 20 episodes, you realize what that means? You have something for a quiz every week in a class. Watch this 30-minute section and here's the quiz. Take it home with you. Watch it and put in the answers. For some people, they're going to say, oh, that's too easy. It's not about easy. You're trying to transfer information to this young person. And the idea is not to make it hard, it's to make it effective.
Exactly.
Right? So this is where we have the challenge in how we think and changing gears. All these years I hear about banning cell phone in school, and I'm saying, like, say what? You maybe you need to have a class where the teachers come in and the students teach them what they'll be looking at on the internet. Okay? All the non-X-rated stuff, of course. But even there, it might open some eyes in the context of things that these people haven't even imagined, okay, in that context. But anyhow, it's a few minutes before the hour 9. We're going to have a guest here coming in a minute.
So don't forget to do your duty.
Yes, to do my duty
do it now.
and to also, I got it right here queued up. I got it right here queued up because the reason why I started talking about Sarge on this song is because some of the projects that I'm working on that deal with history and culture and tradition, that this is, as far as I'm concerned, the Virgin Islands anthem of culture, and in some cases tradition or whatever. But anyhow, the bottom line is I feel it's such a great tool for carrying a message that with his permission and assistance, we're going to incorporate it more. All right? Okay, so with no further ado, let we see if the volume set okay.
Watch now. Image. We back again. We got another little quiz for you. Balance. Aye. You thought it was good the first time? Man, we had so much fun we could do it again. Hello, my people. How you doing today? It's been a long time coming. What I have to say. Look at our culture. Things are not the same. Let's not sit down and do nothing while it goes down the drain. Please help me. Let's jump on the masqueraders, the musician and mass makers, all the way. Hey. Look around, the odds are dying. We must prevent this from happening. Start today. Fight for your culture, work for your culture, enjoy your culture. Together, worship your culture, learn from your culture, stay with your culture forever. I just can't explain. Sweet and sweet potato, cassava and plantain. Help me. Cantaloupe, fried fish, tuna. Wash it down with some brown soda or some lemonade. Sorrel, sour, sap, passion fruit. Salted boiled fish and red bean soup. Crucian guava berry. Fight for your culture, work for your culture, enjoy your culture. Together, worship your culture, learn from your culture, stay with your culture forever. Where are the monuments of our local heroes? Recognize their contributions to their heritage. D. Hamilton Jackson, Elmo Plaskett, Jack James, Ralph Bishop, Henry Rosen, Alexander Moorhead. Continue. David Canigata Sr., Harris Clark and Joe Christopher, Al McBain, Valmy Thomas, Emil Griffith, P.G. Gerard, Edward Hendricks, Gracie Julian Jackson. Fight for your culture, work for your culture, enjoy your culture. Together, worship your culture, learn from your culture, stay with your culture forever and ever. Don't forget our great mass makers, Psycho and Anita Christian, Magnus Holiday, Helen Joseph Floyd Anderson, Susie Ibadi Peterson, Sylvia Forrest Bay.
When we're not talking, you'll hear all your favorite songs, including calypso, jazz, love song, gospel, and those country legends, giving you more music variety. This is AM 970 WSTX.
Alma's Natural Products, 53 King Street, Frederickson, St. Croix, across from the Old Gores Pharmacy. 340-332-3557. Accepts major credit cards. Hours are Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. through 5 p.m. and Sundays, 12 noon through 5 p.m.
Alma's is our favorite place for bulk herbs and detox bitters, sea moss, cocoa sticks, and so much more.
Mom, we need to go to Alma's to get some more aluminum-free deodorant and fluoride-free toothpaste.
Great! While we're there, we can pick up some more natural soap. They also carry raw black soap, liquid Castile soap, raw shea butter, black seed oil, cocoa oil, body oils, and essential oils, sage, incense, candles. Alma's Natural Products also has vitamins, liquid and tablet form. Get refreshed with liquid chlorophyll by Nature Sunshine. They also carry African clothing for the whole family, man, woman, and child. Why shop at the rest when you can shop at the best?
Alma's Natural Products, 53 King Street, Frederickson, St. Croix, across from the Old Gores Pharmacy. 340-332-3557. Accepts major credit cards. Hours are Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. through 5 p.m. and Sundays, 12 noon through 5 p.m.
Alma's. Check her out today.
Honey, there's bugs everywhere. And look, they've taken Fido hostage.
Don't wait until it's too late. St. Croix Exterminating. One call to do it all. Cockroaches, centipedes, termites and bees, spiders and scorpions, mice, rats, and even iguanas. Call St. Croix Exterminating today. 626-0505. That's 626-0505.
Stand up for the law. Stand up for decency. Stand up for compassion. Stand up for respect. Stand up for your community. Stand up for your future. Stand up for the Virgin Islands. WSTX FM 100, the soul of the Caribbean.
Yeah, folks, we're back. We're back, and we have got our guests in the house here. All right. So, I hope you're out there following us on either Facebook or on YouTube with Douglas Canton. And the reason I say that is because I like you to know who the people are that we're talking about beyond their voice. You can see them, so when you're walking down the street, you won't accidentally walk past the person that you really would like to have a conversation with. Okay, so.
Tell them I will be even bad, so I'll take my mic.
Oh Lord, you want me to give you mine?
No.
Anyhow, we have Attorney Russell Pate, who is running for the Senate, in with us today, and hopefully it'll be a good opportunity for everyone from both an introduction perspective and education and information perspective. All right. Okay. Anyhow, moving right along. Mr. Pate, I want you to go ahead and introduce yourself to the community, like they never knew you, okay? And then take it from there. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Douglas Canton. It's a pleasure and honor to be on your show, and good morning to the Virgin Islands. And my name is Attorney Russell Pate. I'm number 1 on the ballot for Senate. I've been an attorney in the Virgin Islands for 17 years. My mom is from Aruba, my dad from Texas, and what I've seen throughout my clients are, I've had over 1,500 clients that are normal, hardworking Virgin Islanders that just want a better life for themselves, their children, and their grandchildren. And all through my practice, and I started at the absolute bottom. I mean, and I can talk about the different stories where you just never give up. That's my number 1 motto. You never give up. And now I say, the tantans, they always ruin in my little orchard and trying to grow in my garden, but I admire the tantan because you can cut that guy all the way down, and when you turn around 3 months, he's right back up just as tall. So I try to be a tantan. They fought me in court. I represent normal people. Big corporations have fought me in court. Hess has fought me in court for years. Vialco, Martin Marietta, even on the rum fungus cases we had, Diageo, and they try to cut me down and cut my clients down. And I just never give up. I'll grow right back and be stronger than ever. And what a lot of my inspiration comes from my clients who they're hurt. You don't usually just go to an attorney because you're hurt. There's also something like disrespect at the end. Something happened to you, and you're going to tough it out, but then they kick some dirt on you when you're on the ground. They call you a name. They rub it in your face, and then that's when I get the call to do a case, because most people, they're not just running to the courthouse. There's something that they feel is wrong and unjust. And throughout my time practicing law and living in the Virgin Islands, loving the Virgin Islands, I've always tried to draft different bills that I see to solve problems. So I've drafted the updates to the expungement law. I've drafted updates to our very weak consumer protection law that was not updated since 1973. I've updated the jury pay. That's the bedrock of our justice system. Juries are paid less than minimum wage. And I've updated that. I've done dozens of bills. The problem is very few of them will actually get a sponsor and get on blue paper and actually pass for various reasons. But I at this point, my big platform has been court delay. I've just seen cases get slower and slower and slower. And if you go back to the 1970s or 1980s, you had these great judges like Judge Almeric Christian, Judge Raymond Finch. And when you were an attorney and you walked your case to court to file for your clients, you knew once you filed that got a stamp from the court, Judge Christian was setting that case for a trial within a year. You would be able to have, a yes or no on justice for your clients. And now when cases are filed, I don't know to tell my clients if it's going to be 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, or longer. And if you read the source today, you'll see a story on 3 dozen clients I have that have cases for the bauxite lung damage at Vialco and Martin Marietta. Those cases, some of those clients have had cases pending 17 years, and over half of them are dead. And so the source wrote a great story on that. I have expressed my frustration last night with a quote, because the defendants on that side, the companies that ran the bauxite refinery, they said the cases are not ripe. They're not ripe for trial. So when the source reached out to me, I couldn't help it. I said, not ripe? This fruit beyond ripe. It's rotten. It has oozed. It has liquefied. The inside now has dried out over the years. It is a shell of a fruit now. And if you go to court hoping for justice and it takes you 17 years, that is not the fruit of justice. That is a hollow, empty shell of no justice. So that's part of my main platform. I'm running on behalf of the people that I serve, normal, hardworking Virgin Islanders that are trying to make a good living for their children and grandchildren. They're trying to preserve the culture of the Virgin Islands. They're trying to preserve the environment of the Virgin Islands generationally, and they also want business opportunities. And that's my platform. If you Google Attorney Russell Pate platform, you're going to find the platform on the source. It lays out 9 points. And the reason I wrote up a detailed platform is I'm not running on just slogans. I'm not running on this popularity. I'm not running on just a bunch of promises. These 9 issues are in my wheelhouse. They're kind of legal, judiciary issues that I can believe I can deliver on. Now, I know I'm one of 15 and I need 8 votes, but my job is to advocate for the people. That's what I've done for 17 years, is advocate for normal, hardworking people. And you have to have your facts right, and you have to be persuasive. And I know on this platform, it is pro-people, it is empowerment, it is equal rights, it is human rights, it is voting rights. And I can sell this, I can sell these ideas to 7 other senators that are elected by the people. Because if you're speaking, you're out there voting, and you want these things done, you want pro-people, you want pro-environment, you want pro-culture, you want a better life for you and your children and your grandchildren, then I have an easy sell, because I say the voters put me here, my platform is supported because it helps the people, and I have detailed ideas on each issue. A lot of the 9 issues I already have bills drafted, simple bills, not complicated bills. A lot of times the legislature I don't understand. They take something that is simple, like the cannabis law, and you put all these commissions and directors, and you pull in all these different laws. There are small states out there, Vermont, Rhode Island, little states with little populations that already do this. They already have these laws. They don't need all these commissions. We're 100,000 people. You can't write a law that California has with 40 million people and think it will work in the Virgin Islands. My philosophy, what my grandfather told me, KISS, keep it simple. So that's my philosophy. When I go into if I get elected and I get the privilege and honor of serving you, then I will go in, and every bill of legislation is, can this be simplified? How do we reduce the burden on the taxpayer? And one of my platforms is, when you call the government, I would love an answer that says, good morning, thank you for calling taxpayer. How can I help you? Because the government exists to serve the people. And the people who fund the government should be given the dignity and respect that they deserve. So again, this is Attorney Russell, paid for Senate, number 1 on the ballot. I'm here to talk about the platform. I'll take questions. Right now, what's big on my mind is open beach access. I represent 20 people from Frederickstead who went out to their usual beach that they go to in Frederickstead, and that the beach had boulders put on it to keep people from parking, and they had moved the access. The landowners had moved the access into the gut to try to come into the gut, and so that's one of the cases I took on pro bono. That's something very close to my heart. My little son was the first child born at Juan Louis North, and in that wing and annex, and for me, I believe that open access to the beaches is one of the greatest benefits of the Virgin Islands. It is steeped in historical history. It is steeped in tradition. It is a law to protect the people, that this year you can go to the beach, and then in 50 years your son and your daughter can go to the beach, and in 100 years your great-grandchildren can go to the beach. And if you let that access start eroding, and it doesn't have to be you don't get to go to the beach because people build all the walls in 1 year. It starts incrementally. So if someone has beach property and they start saying no one can park around that beach access, and then the next landowners say, you can't park on my land, and then the next landowners behind it say, well, you can't park on that land. How are you going to get to the beach when you got to park at the Kings Hill Courthouse? And they say, well, you can park there because that's public parking, and then you can walk to the beaches. No one will have beach access. So that's why I'm fighting for my 20 clients in the beach access complaint. And it's been removed to federal court now, which is a little disappointing to me, because the judges, after you have the local judges in St. Croix and St. Thomas, the appeal goes up to New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and Delaware. It's called the Third Circuit. And there's not one judge out of the 18 judges on that Third Circuit that's from the Virgin Islands. They have no understanding, no connection. They've never lived here, and they're going to make, if they have to, if there's an appeal, they'd be making a decision on whether Virgin Islanders have an open access to the beaches. I believe that's wrong. I've been president of the Bar Association back in 2016. I was elected by the members. We have about 200 active practicing members and many more, and they elected me. And we filed a petition to the president to appoint a Virgin Islander. We've done it for many years now. It's never happened. The delegate has joined us and tried to ask that the president appoint a Virgin Islander to the Third Circuit. I'll be coming back to the bar again to serve as president again. I was elected again, so I'm coming back in 2025. And we will be again asking the White House to appoint a Virgin Island attorney or jurist to the court in the Third Circuit out of Philadelphia, because that court makes important decisions on federal cases that govern the lives of Virgin Islanders. And we should have somebody who's lived here, knows the culture, knows the people on that court. And I'll leave it this way, because the absence of knowledge is there's been court opinions from the Third Circuit about cases, and there'll be an issue like, say, cistern. There's an issue about a cistern, and the Third Circuit judges say, what's a cistern? Well, I wonder what that is. Or there's another case where the judge sanctioned somebody for sucking their teeth in court, and the judge said, don't do that again, I'm going to give you a sanction. Well, what did the judges from Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and Delaware say to that? What is sucking teeth? Well, why would you get sanctioned for that? That doesn't seem like anything. Maybe they were just cleaning their teeth or something like that. So with the lack of knowledge and culture, justice is not served. It is not delivered to the people who live here. It can be distorted and not understood as well. So my platform for voting rights, equal rights, human rights, if you Google Attorney Russell Pate for Senate and platform, you'll see on the source it's number 2. One of my issues on voting rights, equal rights, and human rights is getting us an appointment for the Third Circuit judge. The Virgin Islands had a judge on the Third Circuit from 1951 to 1971. It was our former governor, William Hastie, who also was a district court judge in the Virgin Islands, and he served on that court for over 20 years. And when he retired, the president in the 1970s did not reappoint a Virgin Islander, but appointed an attorney from Pennsylvania. And why is that? It's because the Virgin Islands has no power in the Senate. We do not have two Senate representatives. So that's usually who, through politics, picks who these important judges will be on at the appellate level. And that's part of my platform, too, is I believe the Senate, the 15 people in the Senate, you are the advocates for the people. You are the absolute advocates for the people. The people are electing you because they believe that you are the hardest working, you are moral, you are honest, you will go out and fight, because most people, they have so many responsibilities. They're taking care of their family. They're going to school. They've got their jobs. They might be juggling 2 or 3 jobs. They're taking care of grandma and grandpa. They can't do it all. So that's why we have a representative democracy, where the people come together and say, we are electing our champions. We're electing our champions, and we're sending them to fight for us, to make the laws that help us, that will benefit me and my grandchildren and my great-grandchildren, that'll leave a legacy. Democracy is most powerful when it's closest to the people. And so when you elect, and my belief is when you elect these 15 senators, it's their duty to fight for voting rights, equal rights, and human rights, not just here in the Virgin Islands. The Senate in the Virgin Islands has to tell U.S. Congress, we are electing people and we're going to send them up to Congress to be seated, because that is our American birthright as U.S. citizens. Our citizens in the Virgin Islands have fought and died in every foreign war since World War I. Our veterans have shed blood in World War I, World War II, Korea, Vietnam, Iraq, Afghanistan, and even some of the secret covert operations you know about that happened in Central America under Reagan and in Africa. People fought and died there for American freedoms, for other people, freedom for other people, and came home to second-class citizenry. That's wrong. And so I have the bill already. I drafted it for the 2017 100-year centennial celebration for Transfer Day, and I called it the Centennial Enfranchisement Act. It didn't get passed. It didn't even go up on the floor. But the bill is simple. Our next election cycle, or maybe 4 years from now, we allow the people to elect 2 U.S. senators, and not a delegate, but a congressperson. And when they're elected, we get 2 airplanes, and we fill those airplanes with military veterans, because the Virgin Islands has one of the highest per capita rates of military participation, just like other territories, Guam and Puerto Rico. We outpace Texas and Oklahoma for people who serve per capita, per person. And we fill those planes up with our military veterans, and we fly them to Washington, D.C., and every veteran has a family member or an uncle or a great-uncle or a great-grandmother that also served, and you hold that picture. They'll hold a picture of that other service member from from World War II or from Vietnam. And we lead our elected representatives to the House of Congress and to the Senate of Congress and say, where is our seat? Just like Martin Luther King said, there's a check, and there's a check of rights. There's the check that is owed to us, and we're ready to deposit. We are ready to deposit and you have to take the lead. The Senate is the leaders of the people. They're the advocates of the people. They're the champions of the people. They have to push these hard issues. And it may not happen right away. Congress may not see their representatives. But we keep fighting. You don't give up. You don't give in. Like I said, be like that tan. You can be broken, you can be cut, you can be battered, but 3 months later, you're just as tall, standing strong. Now, I've talked quite a long time. Again, this is Attorney Russell Pate, number 1 on the ballot for Senate. I'll turn this back over to Mr. Doug Canton for any questions. I can take any other questions from our other guest, and we'll go from there.
Jared is my co-host.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, but no, I appreciate all the things that you're talking about, and I appreciate you coming in on this show to reach out to the people of the Virgin Islands. First of all, with regards to the court case here about the beach access, okay, what's the status of the boulders now?
So I will. The last time I checked, the boulders were there, but I have not been back out in 10 days or so. So I'm going on this weekend to Tart Wars. So that's one of my goals, is to go over there and check on the status.
Right. No, I'm just asking, were they ever moved? I mean, I remember the community getting riled up and going out there, and so it was my understanding that they had achieved something. Or not. So I'm just asking in that context for an update. I asked a certain lad, Harry the judge, to give me an update, but he hasn't gotten back to me yet in that context. So I was just asking because the government maintains a certain amount of space as, what do you call it, easement or whatever for, they got to put in poles or whatever the case may be. So even though your property comes up to a certain line, you don't put in a fence, or even if you have a fence or whatever the case may be. Out at Salt River, there's an area out there where people go camping all the time. And of course, with beach erosion and everything else, things are changing. Well, there's a plot of land there that if somebody buys it and decides to build on it, then it means nobody's going to be able to drive down there the way they used to. They're going to have to walk down their stuff and everything else, so forth and so on. So that impacts, or I should say, it just heightens the importance of dealing with this issue of beach access. You have a caller on line 1 if you're ready to take the call.
Well, I'll finish this to say that due to the removal to federal court, and that means that the case is going to proceed there. I would assume if the landlords had moved the boulders back and complied with our request, they wouldn't be removing the case. I would have got a call instead saying everything is resolved and we should dismiss.
Okay.
So we can take the call. I'm more than happy to go forward.
Good thing. Let's take the call. Good morning, WSTX.
Good morning, caller.
Yes, good morning again, Doug and Evelyn. Good morning, Attorney Pate.
Good morning, sir.
Seemingly, I follow you around because I call the station and you have gone to literally all talk shows in the island.
Well, I want to reach a diverse audience, but also it sounds like you follow in every. You got the heartbeat. You got the heartbeat of the Caribbean there on your radio.
Yes, and I must say, I appreciate when you asked that you be asked the hard question, because by saying that this is a colloquial saying, I don't know how much you know of it, it means then that you and I are cut from the same piece of cloth or piece of cloth. Okay? No, serious.
Amen.
Because there are some among us, I don't know for what reason they're afraid to ask certain questions. Mister, you don't do that. Don't do it. Well, I'm going straight to you now, sir. May I ask, Attorney Pate, not that it matters, but what race do you designate yourself as? What is your race, sir?
I mean, if you look at me, I'm a white guy because, I mean, when Barack Obama, I love this. Barack Obama is not black or white. He's mixed, but through culture and history, he is designated a black man because of the one-drop rule. Like history rules. The past is not dead. The past isn't even past. But, you know, for me internally, I have my Caribbean roots. My mom is Aruba through St. Martin and her side of that family. Now I have my father from Texas and you know but I believe here in the Virgin Islands, and I'll tell you this, the one thing the Virgin Islands I have seen every day is if you come here to the Virgin Islands and you want to help and you have a love for the Virgin Islands and you are out there bearing the fruit, because the tree will be known by its fruit, then you are a Virgin Islander.
Of course. And, you know, I ask you that not in any way to embarrass you or any discernment or anything like that, because I have been told that I don't like white people.
No, this is not true. Here's the thing that I look at this. People tell me, some people who haven't been here that long and some other people who might be a little more ignorant, they say, you'll never get elected because you're white. And I said, that's not true. I said, that is not true. The minority, that's like telling President Barack Obama, you're never going to get elected. And you know what he said? He didn't pay no mind to that. He's going to put himself out there. He said hope, because he was looking for the future. He's not focused on the past. I don't focus on the past. We are looking at the future. The past, you know, you can't do nothing about the past. You have to know it. You have to learn it. You have to know where you came from to know where you're going. But I'm out here to serve, and if I don't get elected, that's fine. I want to give the people an option for these ideas.
Again, I told you something more like I that had run public office and did not care if I got elected.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about me. It shouldn't be about you.
Amen.
It's about what you could bring, and that's what awesome continue to overlook.
Well, thank you, sir.
We don't, you know, and it's sad. And if I could just go back to the white people thing quickly, then I would ask them, how is it that I have children with two blonde blue eyes?
Well, that's the thing, too, that I remember being back in the Senate testifying, and I think it was Senator Hill or someone like that saying, you know, I was drafting the consumer protection law, and he goes, you this young attorney down here, that was back when I was a little younger, no gray hair, and he said, you know, this young white attorney here being the one trying to help the Virgin Islands, and when I could finally talk, because, you know, around the Senate, everybody gets their little talking time, it barely comes back around to you. So an hour later, I had to say, listen, you know, you can't judge a book from a cover respectfully, Senator. Like, I have family I have a Caribbean side of family, and I tell you, when I go to that family reunion, not to make, you know, you talk about the Rainbow Coalition or whatever, like at that family, everybody, you see your second cousin, you know, totally different. And you know your blood. You got blood. We share the blood. And I tell you this, the DNA of every human being on this planet came out of Africa, came out of the Rift Valley in Tanzania and Kenya.
Thank you very much.
Your DNA is 99.9% the same with everybody on this planet. So what's crazy, when you do those DNA tests, they just looking at like 1/1000th of your DNA to try to figure out where you're from. You go a little bit back, if it said, give me the DNA that takes you back 10 million years, it wouldn't be interesting to people. It would show the same little spot in Africa where everybody from 10 million years ago.
Yes, but let me go by saying this, attorney, because on a show maybe about a week or so ago, I had called, and when you mentioned about the loss of life in the war, I tried to explain so it could come closer to home.
Oh, yes.
That in my graduation class of 1965, we lost more soldiers per capita in the Vietnam era conflict than any state. But the host of the show didn't think that was important. And it's sad that she's a native like me. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you for calling back. And first, you know, I thank you for your service. And this is what is forgotten, is every person who went abroad and fought, yet they didn't have the vote. They were not drafted, you know. You end up, and the Virgin Islanders got drafted at a higher rate because the draft was set up to favor people who were wealthy and more educated. The draft was set up to grab poor people and underprivileged people, and set up to, in the States, draft African Americans. And that's why one of the people that I think and I admire immensely was Muhammad Ali. Because if you look back at the history, everybody talks about Muhammad Ali's fights and how he fought and he was the greatest fighter. But his biggest fight, and there's a movie out called Muhammad Ali's Greatest Fight. It didn't make a blockbuster or anything. It's a legal thing. Was his fight to the Supreme Court, where he told the draft board, he went in there and told the draft board, I'm not going to Vietnam. I'm not going to, we've got another caller, but I'll finish this. I'm not going to go kill some brown people in a country that have never called me, and I can't say that word on the air, but have never called me a bad word. I'm not going over there and doing it. My religion prohibits it. And the military had told him before that, if you come in, we're going to treat you great. We're not going to send you into combat. You're going to be like Elvis Presley, just motivating the troops. And he said, I will not bend. That is morally wrong. That is against my religion. There's no reason for me to go over there and kill people when I'm discriminated at home. And you know what he lost? He lost billions of dollars. He would have made billions at that point in time in present value. It would be like LeBron James saying, on moral convictions, I'm not playing basketball anymore until the territories can vote. And he would lose all his sponsorships. He would lose his playing in the NBA. He'd be excluded. Muhammad Ali set aside billions of dollars for what he believed in. And at the end, he was right. And he was one of the people that convinced Dr. Martin Luther King that the Vietnam War was wrong. Okay. So we'll go to the next caller.
Good morning, WSTX. Good morning. Line 2, if you're not there, I'm moving right along. All right.
Hello?
Yes, just in the nick of time. My finger was on the button.
Yeah, it was a technical problem.
Okay.
President, good morning. I think it's irrelevant what color a candidate is. It's what's in your heart and what your platform is. And we know that one of the greatest senators we've had here is Senator Alan Redfield. My question is for the candidate. Were you present when Alan Redfield served in the Senate? And also you mentioned about court delay. As it is now, does our revised Organic Act allow for senators to pass legislation that will limit, put a limit when a judge has to make a decision?
Wow. Both of these questions are excellent. The first one is much easier than the second. So I came to the Virgin Islands in 2007 and 2008, and then I started my own office after working for a law firm for 2 years in 2010. So I was beyond that. But I will tell you, I'm a quote-unquote connoisseur of Virgin Islands history, and one of my close, I've read Earl B. Otley's books, Senator, the late great senator, and Governor Pywanski's book. I've read Senator Fritz Loritz's book, and many, many others. But and then you look back at a personal friend of mine is Senator Britt Bryant, who actually did pass a lot of pro-justice laws when he was back in the Senate, working with Senator Earl B. Otley. And his mentors, he talked about. I've heard many wonderful stories about his mentors, attorney and Senator Winston Hodge. Alexander Moorhead, Governor Fairley. These are the mentors for Senator Bryant. Now moving to the court issue. Oh, my. So there is no speedy trial law in our local courts. We have no speedy trial law for criminal cases. And supposedly we have it constitutionally, but I've seen cases where defendants have been arrested. I call them the accused. They've been in court 3, 4, 5, 6 years waiting for a trial. And our opinions from the court here say, well, that's doesn't quite rise to the level of a due process violation. It needs something a little bit more because there's no speedy trial law. Now, on the civil side, we have no speedy trial law at the local level, and the legislature, through help through the AARP, passed a law based on California's law that said if you're over 70, you should get to trial within half a year. You can expedite your trial. And that was used in the cases against Lime Tree for the cistern contamination. And the main lead case was a Reverend Liger and his contamination of his cisterns. And one of the judges at the trial level said, yes, I agree, I will use this statute and have the trial within 6 months. Lime Tree said, no, we want to appeal this. This is a violation of our rights, and they appealed it to the VI Supreme Court. There was oral arguments. That means the court hadn't decided it yet, but they heard from the attorneys. And the Supreme Court was, if you listen to the arguments, it's online on the court's website. The judges said, the legislature can't tell us when to try these cases. It would make a mess of our docket and the trial judge's discretion for setting their calendar. This is a violation of separation of powers, and it looks like they're going to strike down any legislation that says that a court has to do something by a certain amount of time. Now, for me personally, I'm confused because California has this exact law. In California, if you're over 70, you get the trial within 6 months. And actually, if you're under the age of 15, so if you have a 10-year-old that's hurt in an accident, and that's important because let's say your 10-year-old gets his leg broken, he needs a surgery so his leg is not short and he's walking with a short leg the rest of his life. And because the bones are growing, the time is short, they have that 6 months so that there can be justice done, yes or no, on whether that child gets the money from the accident. And the California said that's constitutional. So I am a little confused. I'll be interested in reading the Supreme Court's opinion to see how they thread this needle, that California can say these laws are constitutional and not a separation of powers, yet our Virgin Islands Supreme Court seems to say that it would wreak havoc here if we had actual dates. But I'll finish with this, and thank you, caller, for that's a wonderful question.
Well, let me ask you one last question, and I hang up and listen to your response. The Revised Organic Act, as we know, is the document that's governing us. And I've heard you said you are in favor of the adoption of the Revised Organic Act. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's for simplicity, yes, that we adopt it and we can make amendments locally.
So you think right now, and I'm going to hang up and listen to your response, right now, based on how the Organic Act is written, the senators can go ahead and pass the resolution or legislation to adopt the Revised Organic Act and still establish a convention to go through the process of the public law? You understand that question?
Yes, I'll do the best I can answer that.
I will be listening to your response. Mm-hmm. Have a beautiful, blessed day.
Thank you. Wonderful questions from the caller, very insightful. So I'll start with my main philosophy for those joining. It's Attorney Russell Pate, number 1 on the ballot for Senate. I do not give the reverence to the Revised Organic Act that other lawyers say it should be. I say this is an act of Congress that we have no representation in. So fundamentally, from Thomas Jefferson to Alexander Hamilton, there was no consent of the governed, the Virgin Islanders, in the creation of this document. Power comes up from the people, not down from the king. That was the whole point of the American Revolution, is that your representatives at the lowest level have the most legitimacy. So reading my belief, and I've written an op-ed on this, so just Google Russell Pate and Constitutional Convention, and what I say is, we've had 5 of these already. So pretend you're a homeowner, you have a little plot of land next to your house, and 5 times you've brought out workers to build you a house, and you've paid them millions of dollars, and each time they build that house, it falls down again. And then the second time they say, well, we'll build it right this time. You give them another $1 million, they build it, it falls down again. Then the third time they come out and say, I'll build you that house again. It'll be beautiful this time. And it falls down again. And you're at the 5th time, and it's fallen down again. Now, let me tell you this. No, the delegates we have are going to be good, but we had heavyweights back on the first and second Constitutional Convention. You had Earl B. Otley on there. You had Governor Turnbull. You had people like Governor Fairley. You had Attorney John Maduro. I mean, not John Maduro. Albert Sheen. You had all these people that were, I mean, it's like the dream team. And it didn't work. And we've been living since for 1954. We've been 70 plus years under the Revised Organic Act, and it's not perfect, but nobody's out there being like, oh, the sky is falling. So the easiest thing for taxpayer money is to say, hey, government, that little house I'm in right now, thank you. I know you own it, but would you give me the keys? I would like to take it over. Would you give me the keys? And instead of going to Congress for permission to say, let me build this new house, and them rejecting it, saying, no, you can't build your house like that. You say, let me have the house that you already have from me, federal government. And then once you get the keys, you lock the door, and then you get to start making the changes on the inside. And then guess what? It's not Congress and the president saying, we don't like your Constitution. It's the courts here. And I tell you what, then you end up having local judges making those decisions. And more likely than not, the legislation is from the local Senate. It's going to have a favor that is in favor that it is constitutional. So it's just an easier, it saves taxpayers, it cuts through what we call, there's this story called the Gordian knot. It's from ancient mythology that there was this town and they had this big knot of rope and nobody could undo it. No one could undo it. And everybody tried, and they had the smartest people in town try to do it. And then they had the smartest people from across the world try to do it. And then Alexander the Great came through with his army. And they said, well, if you're so great, Alexander the Great, can you undo the knot? He pulled out his sword and cut it in half. And he said, there you go, no more knot. That's the issue with the Constitutional Convention and Revised Organic Act. We adopt the Revised Organic Act, save a ton of money, and set up an amendment process. And almost all states across the United States have over 100 amendments to their state constitutions. So it's no big deal for us to start cleaning things up after we have our quote-unquote Constitution. But I will tell you this last, and this is for the caller. The Constitution doesn't actually mean anything. It's a little sheet of paper. There's a territory right next to us called Puerto Rico. You know what they have? A constitution. And you know what it's gotten them? Diddly squat. Nothing. The Supreme Court in the last couple cases, and when I was president of the VI bar, we what we did called a friend of the court brief to the Supreme Court arguments, but it's called Sanchez Valle. They said that Puerto Rico, you don't have any rights. And that's why it goes back to where I talk about changing the law to elect 2 people in the Senate, U.S. Senate, and 1 in Congress. That's where the power is, the votes in Congress. There's a guy named Joe Manchin from West Virginia. He would be a nobody, but he was the one person they needed, the Democrats needed for a vote, and he got everything. Millions of dollars went to West Virginia because of that vote. And if we had people in Congress, we would get the attention the Virgin Islands deserved. Thank you.
WSTX, you're on the air.
Yes, hi. Attorney Pate?
Yes, good morning.
Hi, good morning. How are you doing today?
Oh, I'm blessed. Thank you, sir.
Well, my question is, as a candidate for public office, my issue with elected officials in the Virgin Islands is accountability. There's a disconnect once elected and once sworn into office from their constituency. How could you make that different in your candidacy? How could you guarantee that you will be accountable and stay close to the electorate if elected?
Thank you for that call. It's a little, at the broadest level, I'd say it comes down to your inner compass and your own morality, and that you're there for a goal for serving the people. Now, the legislative branch is kind of the power of the purse and laws and public policy. The executive branch is the one that's running all the agencies, paving the roads, making arrests, and then you have the court that's trying to resolve these individual differences and balance the power in the scales of justice. So do you have any type of an example more? Like, what would be something that you want accountability on, so we can exactly see what you're talking about?
Okay, well, for instance, I am a retired utility worker. I work for WAPA.
Yes.
We know WAPA is one of our major issues. Unless we resolve it, we're not going to have any South of economic development.
And did we have a little talk on kind of the complaints going up? You know, you brought an issue to the legislature for WAPA, or am I thinking of another caller?
No, that's me. You're correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was
just
yeah. So I remember your call before. So focus your story even more, and I'll try to do the best I can to answer it, or tell you that I don't have an answer. If be honest, but I'll do the best I can.
Well, it's not for answer. I was just trying to figure out, like, as an attorney, if I have an issue that I want you to represent, I have to come and consult with you. We have to have discourse so you can know what my issues are, so you can go ahead and represent them as counsel.
Correct.
As a legislature, you're a representative of the constituency, and you're supposed to represent their issues. So currently, we don't have a way to have discourse with the elected officials to represent our issues. And that's where I have my issue with accountability, because if there's a community problem and I have the solution, but I'm not an elected official, I'm just a member of the community, and I submit this initiative as a solution, but it's not even being addressed. And even the same issue, I submitted it to the Department of Interior, the Affairs Office. The director sent me back an email telling me, listen, once you get a feasibility study done, we'll be in full support. So if I'm getting support from outside of the Virgin Islands on this issue, why is it I'm having such a difficult time? And I know why it is because of who I am. And I've had personal issues with the current administration, i.e. the governor when he was a labor commissioner. And for that reason, I'm like blacklisted, like, oh, don't listen to what he has to say, which, that's like throwing the baby out with the bathwater. What happened to me happened years ago, but as we're in a crisis, it's all hands on deck. So why not at least hear me out, listen to me, question me? See,
I'll do my best then on this.
Just like the Department of Interior is suggesting.
Okay. Well, I will. Thank you for the background. So, for the listening audience, this is Attorney Russell Pate, number 1 for Senate. I'm going to. This may not solve the issue, but generally, you would look at the committee that your issue would be under. So there is a committee that has energy, and you would go to that committee, and each committee has a president, has a chair and a vice chair, and you would end up showing that idea to the committee. If you're looking at changing legislation, the issue with a lot of democracy and Republican governments is not all power is in one area. So WAPA has its quasi-independent instrumentality. There's a board there. WAPA gets so much federal funds that there's power from the feds. Obviously, that's going through the Department of Interior. So there's all these overlapping powers that don't. That's the problem that people talk about bureaucracy, like it's inefficient. But it is inefficient because you're trying to break up the power somewhat too. If you didn't have that, you'd have this guy named Vladimir Putin, who's president of Russia, that him just kind of nodding his head could end up having 10,000 people killed because he has that power to just take a life immediately because he's a dictator. But back to, if you have an idea that you feel like you're not getting traction on because of who you are, then you would hope that if it's a great idea, that you could talk to other colleagues and other people in the community that would take that idea and push it themselves. And it's not about the person. If the idea is excellent, then the idea will float on itself by other people who can bring it forward. So I'd say go to the committee and here's the next nuance is, there is a majority in the Senate and there's a minority, and so the people who are in the majority are going to be sitting on the committees, and then you'd have to get the committee chair, and that would be how to do it on the legislative side. If it's an executive side, then of course it's going to be going through either the WAPA board, or the government house has a lot of pressure that it can put on the board, so through government house, or even through the feds that have pressure through federal funding. So it's nuanced, unfortunately, and it's not easy. And believe me, even when I've created, I felt like the best solutions legislatively, they didn't get traction, and we had the talk last time for the caller. I had an idea on how WAPA could save $17 million by exchanging debt that they have with sanctions that the U.S. attorney in Florida had put against one of WAPA's vendors, like $83 million federal penalty, and that we'd call up Florida and say, please, as a charity, a political favor for us, please exchange some of that money you're trying to collect from this company for violating the laws. Let $17 million of that collection be the debt that WAPA owes to this company. And, I haven't heard anything back on that, but maybe it's being considered. I don't know. We'll go back to the host.
All right. Well, we got a call on line 2, and as we get ready to go to line 2, I just want to say to the listening public, if you, we only have but so much time here, so if you miss your opportunity to ask your question here, I believe that he's going to be on with Ras Isaiah after he is finished in here. So, folks, lots of questions. WSTX is here to make sure that you get your opportunity. And so I noticed that you said something in here about sidewalks. Okay? And, as I tell people all the time, that there's a bias against people who don't own a car.
Mm-hmm.
They used to walk from Christiansted to Fredericksted, some people, as a matter of doing whatever. Used to walk from over there in La Valley to come over the hill to go to school. And we have a new bridge that's coming in there on Queen Mary. And I think I was up in Worcester, Massachusetts. And one of the things we would do is take a walk to go to a mall, and you had to go up by the highway, and there was a metal barrier and a sidewalk on the other side, so you were protected from cars and accidents, but you could get by there. And I look at the overhead pictures of this bridge, and there is no provision for a sidewalk. Nobody's supposed to walk Queen Mary like before.
Mm-hmm.
Heaven help, we have another fire bunny, ain't got no sidewalk to cross. Anyhow, with that, let me go to line. I don't want to.
Okay, because we'll take this call and we're going to come back around, because I've written so many op-eds on sidewalks.
Right, no. I'm just saying I saw it and it got me working, but no, this time it's yours and the constituents, so let's get to.
After this kind of one, actual disability.
I'm going to tell you now, our time running out. You're not going to get to it. But he'll be back. All right, good thing. Here we go. Line 1, you're on the air. Good morning, you're on the air.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning. You're on
good
the
morning.
air. WSTX.
Attorney Pete. Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Kenton. Good morning, special guest. I have a question for you. I did hear you agree that you would support the adoption of the Revised Organic Act. Now, understanding that the Revised Organic Act is a congressional act, can you tell me how that can be not only amended by our Senate, and how could a Revised Organic Act be adopted by the Senate to represent a Constitution, and a Constitution is supposed to be from the people? So I'd like some clarity on that. And the public law, for your edification, does not speak to the empowerment of the Revised Organic Act being replaced or placed in the position of our Constitution. So I'd like to hear your response in reference to that and according to the law.
Sure. Thank you. That's a great question. So I know as most people like, oh, the Constitution this and the Constitution that. So you'll hear people refer to like the Magna Carta and the Constitution, and I guarantee you that anytime somebody comes into the court and just starts saying the Constitution and Magna Carta, you've lost the case because it's just so amorphous. The reason the U.S. Constitution has the power it has is because there are millions of court cases supporting every word and terminology that exists in it. And right now for the I'll get to your question. I'm going to answer it because I have to build up for the background. And so the reason the Revised Organic Act right now, it's been there so long, there's every court case that interprets like what these different things mean. So we're living under the Revised Organic Act now. Now for different state constitutions, most of those were made by people in those houses. Like Virginia, you had James Madison and Thomas Jefferson that wrote those constitutions. It wasn't written by the people. I mean, it was written by the people's representatives, and then they would have usually a referendum that says, do you want to adopt it? They would be, short, pithy statements of like your ideals. And the only way the ideals are solidified was over hundreds of years of different court interpretations. So I hate to say in the 21st century
I hate to cut you off. I know the history of that. What I am going to ask you, and I've asked you, is can you show me where in the public law, and I think you know what the public law is that I'm referring to, gives the power of the Senate to enact a congressional act to take the place of what it's mandated to do, which is to allow the people to establish their own constitution, like what they did with the Fifth, which I still say is not resolved.
Right.
So knowing that, believe it or not, I know that you can't do that because our current Congresswoman tried to adopt that the other day, and it was rejected because that is not the law. And the law says, under the public law that is established for the Virgin Islands, that the Congress has allowed the people to create their own voice. So the Senate cannot put the Revised Organic Act as our Constitution, sir. I'm sorry, I had to state the law. Because the law stands.
That's fine. I mean, believe me, I've been a lawyer that has been told so many times when I go to court that, oh, that's not the law and that's not the law and you're going to lose. And the thing is that the law
It's not about losing. Yeah. It's not about losing. It's about speaking to the people. You are going to be elected or seeking election to an office that represents the people. The people put you in the office to represent them. So therefore, we have to abide by what the law says. And the law says that the Senate does not have the right to implement that act on us because that's not what the law reads. Second of all, the Senate does not have the power to amend a congressional act. And I'll be willing to bet on that. You have a great day. Thank you.
Okay, Thank you for your call.
So I appreciate, the caller is excellent on, this is what colonialism is. So the caller here does a great job on talking about the colonial. Your hands are tied. The loss, it's like emancipation. Right now, you are a slave. You can't. For fire burn, they put contracts in. The law is contracts. That's the law. You are bound by this. That's the reason the Constitutional Convention has failed 5 times. And my whole public, what I say is you have to cut the Gordian knot. If you want progress, you have to cut the Gordian knot. And that's the same thing when I say we change the election laws to like 2 senators and a congressperson. Everybody else will be like, well, that's not lawful. They don't have law for that. And you're like, that's the problem. No one cedes power voluntarily. You have to stand up and take it. And so my issue, the caller is great, but my issue is a fundamental philosophical difference that says that, and it's, again, read my op-ed, Attorney Russell Pate, Constitutional Convention, the House will fall again. You will bring out people again for the 6th time to build it. It will go up to the president. It will go up to Congress. They will find all different problems with it and say, we are just not developed enough for a constitution. We just haven't been understanding of American laws enough. You have to cut the Gordian knot, and that's my option to the public is to say, stop being handcuffed.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Okay. So there's somebody else on line 1, but we're at the time we have to finish up here. Yeah, okay. Thank you for picking this opportunity, particularly this show, to reach out to the community, and I really look forward to having you back. And maybe as a strategy, we could focus on some particular areas and let people know in advance so we can, because there's a lot to work through here in that sense. So just an idea. Anyhow, look forward to the future. Reflections, we're happy to host you here again, and we talk about issues affecting the Virgin Islands in terms of choosing our leaders for the Senate.
Thank you, listeners. I just ask for your encouragement, your support, your prayers, and your vote. Russell Pate, number 1 on the ballot.
All right. Thank you so much.
Stand up for the law. Stand up for decency. Stand up for compassion. Stand up for respect. Stand up for your community. Stand up for your future. Stand up for the Virgin Islands. WSTX FM 100, the soul of the Caribbean.
Whether you're looking for a locally owned restaurant with good vibes and good people, a place to grab a meal to eat at your desk, a domino game, or dinner for the family, Chicken Shack is the place to go. Lorraine Chicken Shack is open 10:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday to Wednesday and 10:30 a.m. to 8 p.m. Thursday through Saturday.
Pigeon chicken, Lorraine Chicken Shack, your chicken tasty and it's a fact.
Picard for Congress, better than the West. Vote Ronald Picard, sincere and honest. Don't mind Stacy, lie to everybody. Listen carefully. We judge and jury, she say she didn't spend Epstein money. They say she lied. They say she give it all to charity. They say she lied. She didn't know Epstein was a pedophile. They say she lied. More or less little children all the while. They say she lied. Vote that lying woman from Congress. They say she lied. She have the Virgin Island in a mess. They say she lied. We want honest people representing we. Oh yes. Vote for Ronald Picard, you will see. Oh yes. Vote Ronald Picard to Congress. 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 Oh yes. Paid for by the committee to elect Ronald Picard to Congress. Oh yes.